My wife said, "You're not fun anymore. I want a trial separation." I said, "Done." Then I began the methodical process of separating our lives. Weeks later, her new life crashed down in panic. I'm 42 male, a data analyst. My life is built on logic, on predictable patterns and calculated outcomes. I find a deep sense of comfort and stability. My wife Kelly, 38, used to claim she did too. For 15 years she called me her rock. That was my role. I provided, I supported, I maintained the steady, predictable rhythm of our life so she could pursue an ever-changing series of passions. First a pottery business that hemorrhaged money, then becoming a part-time yoga instructor. I paid the mortgage, I handled the investments, I managed the health insurance. I saw it as a partnership. My role was to build the ship. Hers was to be the sail. Last Thursday, the sail decided the ship was a prison. She sat me down in our living room, the one she'd had professionally redecorated in calming neutral tones last fall. She wouldn't meet my eyes, focusing instead on a decorative vase that cost more than my first car. "Peter," she started, her voice adopting a soft, therapeutic cadence that always signaled an incoming emotional missile. "I need some space. I feel like I'm losing myself, you know?" I didn't respond. I waited. The preamble is for the speaker's comfort, not the listener's. "You're a good man," she continued, a verbal pat on the head. "A wonderful provider, but you're not fun anymore. We're not fun. Everything is so planned, so safe. I need to feel alive again. I need to find my own path." I stared at the expensive, non-structural wooden beam she'd insisted we install over the media center. It had cost me my entire annual bonus, a monument to aesthetics over function. In that moment, watching her talk about fun in the very lap of the security I'd spent my adult life building, something didn't break in me. It calcified. All the little dissonant data points, the secretive, giggly texting at all hours, the new expensive workout clothes from brands I'd never heard of, the sudden intense reverence for a spiritual guru named Zachary, who also happened to be her new tennis partner, they all snapped from a random scatterplot into a perfectly linear regression. The conclusion was obvious and devastating. I looked at her, really looked at her, as if for the first time in years. Her $200 leggings, the fresh manicure on the hand that hadn't worn a wedding ring in 2 weeks because it interfered with her energy flow. She was waiting for me to beg, to promise more excitement, to book a trip to Bali, to become someone I'm not. "Done," I said. The word was a stone thrown into a still pond. It wasn't the reaction her script called for. Her brow furrowed. "Done? Just like that? You're not even gonna fight for us?" "You just told me you want a trial separation," I replied, my voice chillingly level. "I'm agreeing to your terms. This is what you want. You should be happy." "Well, yes, but..." She was flustered, like an actor whose scene partner has skipped to the final monologue. "Okay, well, good. I'm gonna go pack." She went upstairs. I didn't follow. I listened to the sounds of drawers opening and closing, the sounds of my life being dismantled. For a long moment, I felt a surge of white-hot rage. I wanted to throw that stupid vase against the wall. Then came a wave of immense, crushing sadness. I thought about the girl I married, the one who was thrilled to eat cheap pizza on the bare floor of our first tiny apartment. Where did she go? I let myself feel it all for about an hour. The anger, the grief, I let it wash over me. And then I let it pass. What was left was a cold, hard clarity. This wasn't a trial, this was an ambush, and I would not be its victim. I pulled out my phone. My mind was already working. A separation is a legal event. It has rules, it has consequences. She wanted a new life. I would simply facilitate its authentic beginning. My first call wasn't to a bank. It was to a highly recommended family law attorney, Victoria. I got her voicemail, left a concise message, and received an email a half hour later to schedule a consultation for the next morning. The next day, after a sleepless night, I sat in Victoria's office. I explained the situation. She listened intently, her face impassive. When I finished, she gave me clear, methodical advice, not for revenge, but for protection. "The moment of separation is a critical legal marker, Peter," she said. "Your actions from this point forward must be transparent and defensible." Guided by her counsel, I spent the rest of that Friday taking careful, deliberate steps. Financial separation. As advised, I opened a new, individual checking account. I didn't drain the account she used, as that could be seen as financial abuse. Instead, I left a significant cushion, $4,000, in the old account to serve as a transitional buffer. I then transferred the remainder of the funds, my savings from my salary, to my new secure account. I updated my direct deposit with HR to route all future paychecks to this new account. I documented the exact time and date of the transfer, noting it was post-separation. Credit disentanglement. I am the primary holder on our main credit card. Kelly was a supplementary user. I called the company, informed them of our legal separation, and had her card immediately deactivated. I assumed responsibility for the full outstanding balance, nearly $8,000. It was a clean, legal amputation. The benefits time bomb. I logged into my employer's HR portal. I updated my marital status to legally separated. This triggered the qualifying life event. The system confirmed the change and informed me that spousal benefits for Kelly would be terminated effective the last day of the current month. It was June 15th. She had 15 days of coverage left. A notification regarding COBRA continuation coverage, the system noted, would be mailed to our home address within 10 business days. This was the most critical step. Her prescription for Maxalt, for her chronic migraines, costs over $600 a month out of pocket. Kelly came by Saturday to pick up more of her things. She was breezy, acting as if this was all a grand adventure. "Hope you're not too lonely rattling around in this big old house," she said with a pitying smile. "I'm managing," I said. "By the way, I've started the formal process. Just wanted you to know." "Process? What process?" she asked, distracted, looking at her phone. "The separation," I said. "Legal stuff. Lawyers? You'll probably want to talk to one." She just laughed. "Oh, Peter, so dramatic. It's a trial. We'll talk in a few weeks." She had no idea. She thought the rock would just sit here, waiting patiently while she went exploring. She was wrong. Update 1. It took about 5 days for the first tremors to hit her new reality. The trigger was, as expected, the credit card. I got a text on Wednesday. "Kelly, this is so weird. My card was just declined at Lululemon. The girl at the counter was so rude about it. Can you call them? I think their system is down." Me, there's no system error. I canceled your supplementary card last week. We're separated, Kelly. Our finances are separate now too. You did what? Peter, I needed that outfit. How could you do that without talking to me? I did talk to you. I told you I was starting the legal process. This is part of it. You can use the debit card for now. The 3 dots on her message bubble appeared and disappeared for a long time. She was likely checking the balance of the old account. The $4,000 buffer seems to have kept her from immediate panic, but the message was clear. The endless river of cash had been dammed. The main event, the full-blown earthquake, happened this morning. My doorbell rang at 9 a.m. on Saturday. It was Kelly, and she'd brought her mother, Joyce, for reinforcement. Joyce is a woman who believes Kelly's whims are divine proclamations, and my purpose on earth is to fund them. "Peter, I demand you explain this," Joyce commanded as she marched into my foyer. Kelly stood behind her, arms crossed, radiating self-righteous fury. "You canceled her credit card. Are you trying to humiliate her?" "I'm establishing financial boundaries, which is standard procedure in a legal separation," I said calmly. Kelly finally exploded. "Standard procedure? This isn't a business merger. This is my life. You're trying to control me, to punish me for wanting more than this boring, predictable life." "I'm not punishing you," I said, my voice flat. "I'm giving you exactly what you asked for. You wanted a different life. You wanted to be on your own path. I am simply letting you experience the full reality of that choice. The predictable life you find so boring also happened to pay for everything." I let that hang in the air for a moment before delivering the final, crucial piece of information. "And since we're discussing logistics," I continued, looking directly at Kelly, "I need to formally notify you of something. I informed my employer of our separation. As a result, your eligibility for my health, dental, and vision insurance will terminate at the end of this month. That's 10 days from now. You'll receive a COBRA packet in the mail that explains how you can continue the coverage at your own expense." The color drained from Kelly's face. Joyce just looked confused. "What does that mean?" Joyce asked. Kelly answered, her voice a strangled whisper. "My migraine prescription, Peter, they told me it's over $600 a month without your insurance." "That's correct," I confirmed. "So you'll need to budget for that. The Cobra premium for the full plan will likely be around $900 a month. Joyce gasped. That's monstrous. You can't do that to her. She has a medical condition. She's a 38-year-old adult who has chosen to separate from the husband who provided her insurance, I stated, refusing to be drawn into hysterics. This is a natural consequence. She wanted to find her own way. This is wayfinding 101. This isn't you, Peter. You're being cruel, Kelly cried, tears of rage and panic welling in her eyes. I'm going to call a lawyer. You'll be hearing from them. I would expect nothing less, I said. I've already retained counsel myself. Her name is Victoria. The fact that I already had a lawyer, that I was 2 steps ahead of her, seemed to stun her more than anything else. She stared at me, her mind clearly reeling, trying to reconcile the predictable rock she'd left with the cold, calculating stranger standing before her. She grabbed her mother's arm and stormed out. The war has begun. Update 2. The initial skirmishes have given way to the slow, grinding machinery of the legal process. As promised, I heard from Kelly's lawyer about 2 weeks after our confrontation. The letter I received was a masterpiece of creative writing. It painted me as a cruel and manipulative monster who, in a punitive rage, had maliciously cut off his emotionally fragile wife to force her into submission. It demanded I immediately reinstate all financial support, pay for her legal fees, and it outlined an outrageous demand for long-term spousal support. I forwarded it to Victoria, who was completely unfazed. It's a standard shock and awe tactic, she explained over the phone. They're loud and aggressive, hoping you'll panic and settle for a bad deal. We will respond with calm, documented facts. And we did. Our response, which took her several days to meticulously craft, was a quiet work of art. We calmly refuted every claim, not stating that I had acted responsibly, and upon legal advice to separate our finances, following Kelly's abandonment of the marital home. We made it clear we would not be reinstating any funds. Then came the counteroffensive. I had taken a gamble and hired a private investigator. It wasn't cheap, and it took him 3 days of surveillance, but the results were worth every single penny. He provided a detailed report complete with time-stamped photos of Kelly and Zachary entering and leaving his apartment over several nights, and a clear shot of them having a romantic breakfast on his balcony. We attached the PI's report to our response. We also attached the text message from Zachary. We formally stated that Kelly had entered into an adulterous relationship, which was the true cause of the separation. But Victoria didn't stop there. She added a devastatingly effective legal motion. We filed for discovery, claiming dissipation of marital assets. We alleged that for months, Kelly had been using marital funds, my income, to finance her affair. We subpoenaed her bank records, and crucially, we subpoenaed Zachary. We wanted to see his financial records to determine how much of my money had been spent on gifts, dinners, and trips for him. The reaction was seismic. About a week after our response was sent, I received a call from a blocked number. It was Zachary. The smug, enlightened guru persona was gone. He sounded like a terrified college kid. Hey man. Peter, I think there's been a huge misunderstanding here, he stammered. I don't think there's been any misunderstanding at all, Zachary, I said, my voice like ice. This is crazy. Your lawyer is subpoenaing me. I'm just a tennis coach, man. I don't want to be dragged into this. It's going to ruin my reputation. Your reputation is your own business. My finances, however, are mine. Kelly spent thousands of dollars on you from an account funded by my salary. My lawyer sees that as fraudulent. You are now a material witness in a divorce proceeding. You can either cooperate or you can explain to a judge why you shouldn't have to. I heard him take a shaky breath. She said you guys were over, that it was just a matter of time. Then you'll have no problem stating that under oath in a deposition, I said. And then I hung up. The entitlement has finally smashed against the hard wall of consequence. Kelly and her mother have been calling non-stop, leaving rambling, hysterical voicemails. 1 minute they're threatening me with eternal damnation. The next they're crying, saying I'm destroying her life and that this isn't the man she married. She's right. The man she married would have absorbed this betrayal and quietly suffered. The man she left behind is simply running the data, and the data is not in her favor. Final update. It's over. The divorce was finalized 2 weeks ago. The whole process took just under 8 months, which Victoria tells me is practically light speed for a contentious divorce. It didn't end in a dramatic courtroom finale. It ended when their entire case collapsed under its own weight. Zachary was the linchpin. The threat of a deposition, of having his finances publicly scrutinized and his role in the affair laid bare under oath, was too much for him. He capitulated completely. His lawyer reached out to Victoria and offered a full, signed affidavit in exchange for being dropped from the proceedings. He detailed the entire affair, confirming it began long before the separation. He wanted out, and he was willing to burn Kelly to the ground to get there. With her infidelity proven and her financial claims exposed as a sham, Kelly's leverage vanished. Her pit bull lawyer, seeing a losing and expensive case, aggressively pushed her to settle. Here are the final consequences. The house. We sold it. As our primary marital asset, the equity was split 50-50, as per state law. My share was enough to secure a down payment on a comfortable, if smaller, condo. Her share was a substantial one-time payment, the last she'll ever receive from me. Spousal support. This was her last stand, and it failed. Due to the clear evidence of infidelity and her dissipation of our assets, the judge awarded her only 2 years of minimal rehabilitative alimony. It's barely enough to cover the rent on a basic apartment and is explicitly intended to support her while she finds full-time employment. The fun is officially unfunded. The assets. Our dissipation claim was successful. Based on bank records, we proved she'd spent over $15,000 on her affair. That amount was deducted directly from her half of the house equity and awarded to me. In the end, she paid me back for financing her own betrayal. The lives they chose have now fully materialized. Kelly is renting a small apartment. She works as a full-time office manager for a landscaping company. Her social media is now mostly generic inspirational quotes. Zachary, I've heard, broke up with her the moment his legal troubles began and has struggled to retain clients at his club. Reputations are indeed fragile. Joyce now has a financially and emotionally dependent daughter who is deeply unhappy with her new, non-glamorous life. As for me, I'm healing. It's an active process. The first few months were a grim exercise in legal strategy, but once the dust settled, I had to confront the 15-year hole in my life. I found a good therapist to help me process the sheer scale of the deception. It's not about anger anymore. It's about understanding how I let myself become so complacent, how I ignored so many red flags. My new condo is my sanctuary. It's quiet, it's filled with my books, my old comfortable armchair, and a ridiculously complex German coffee maker that Kelly would have called hideous. It makes a perfect cup of coffee every morning. That simple, predictable pleasure feels more like fun to me than anything I've experienced in years. I've started hiking on weekends, something Kelly always despised. The other day, standing on a ridge overlooking the valley, I felt a sense of peace that was so profound it almost brought me to tears. It wasn't the thrill Kelly was chasing. It was something deeper. It was freedom. The rock is no longer an anchor for someone else's ship. It's a mountain, standing on its own. She texted, "I wrecked the Benz. I was drunk. Come pick me up and tell the cops you were driving." I replied, "On my way." Then I texted her father the location, the crash details, and a link to the dashcam footage. The next call I got was from her lawyer. I, 34 male, am a luthier. I restore stringed instruments. It's quiet, meticulous work. It requires patience and a very steady hand. I guess that's why I was able to put up with my fiancée, Bianca, 29, for so long. We were supposed to be married in 4 months. Her father, Arthur, is one of those men who owns half the city and thinks modesty is a brand of boat. Is a lot. Bianca's his perfect image daughter, and I apparently was the stable, artistic, grounded guy who looked good on her arm. Our living situation, I rent a townhouse with a ground floor workshop. It's my dream space. My name is on the lease. Bianca moved in 18 months ago. The car, a brand new Mercedes C-Class coupe. A congratulations on the engagement gift to her from Arthur. But Arthur is cheap where it doesn't show. He found out my auto insurance policy, thanks to my spotless record, was almost 60% cheaper than what he could get for her. "Alex, my boy," he said, "let's put her on your policy. It's just a formality. I'll have my girl send you the check for the premium." Like an idiot, I agreed. The check was always late, if it came at all. Because I was now financially tied to her driving habits, I insisted on one thing, a high-end dashcam, one that uploads to the cloud. Bianca threw a fit. "It's ugly, Alex. It ruins the aesthetic. It's like you don't trust me." "I don't trust other drivers, B. It's for insurance. Non-negotiable." She eventually agreed, pouting the whole time. This all leads to last night, 3:14 a.m. My phone lights up. "Bianca, Alex, I messed up. Bad." My heart jumped. I was half asleep. Before I could type, the follow-up came. "Bianca, I wrecked the Benz. I was drunk. Hit a parked car or something. Nobody saw. I'm on road name about a mile from the house. Come pick me up and tell the cops you were driving. Now. Just say I was upset and you came to get me and you hit the car." I read that text 3 times. Tell the cops you were driving. She wasn't asking for help. She wasn't scared for her safety. She was ordering me to take a DUI, a hit and run, and a felony charge. To sacrifice my entire life, my career, my clean record so she wouldn't have to deal with the consequences of her actions. All the little entitlements, the daddy will handle it moments, the casual way she'd forget her wallet. It all coalesced into this one sociopathic demand. My hands were shaking, but not from fear. It was cold. I looked around my bedroom, at her designer clothes thrown over the chair. Then I thought about my workshop downstairs. About the 1920s Italian cello I'm restoring, my life's work, a project worth over $50,000. All of it gone for a woman who would trade my life for her convenience. I took a deep breath. My hands became steady. I am a meticulous man, after all. "My first action," I replied. "Me, on my way." My second action, I opened the dashcam app on my phone. The 3:14 a.m. alert was already there. "Impact detected." I tapped it. The cloud footage began to stream. Her leaving the girls' night bar. The slurred singing, the swerving, the crunch as she sideswiped a brand new Escalade, ripping the mirror off and caving in the door. I watched her pull over, get out, look at the damage on the Benz, and then just drive off. A clear as day hit and run, and she was drunk. It was all there. I downloaded the file directly to my phone. My third action, I composed a new text message to Arthur. "Me, Arthur. Bianca has been in an accident at intersection pin drop. She is intoxicated. She has asked me to commit a felony by claiming I was driving. I have declined. She needs your help. Here's the dashcam footage from the incident." I attached the video file. I hit send. My fourth action, I called my insurance company's 24-hour hotline. "Hello," I said, my voice perfectly level. "I need to report an incident. My fiancée Bianca, who is a listed driver on my policy, has just been in an at-fault hit-and-run accident in the 2023 Mercedes C-Class. License plate number. I am not at the scene. I have definitive dashcam footage showing she was the sole occupant and was intoxicated. I am sending the file to my claims agent right now." My fifth action, I called my lawyer, a sharp guy who handled my workshop lease. It was 3:30 a.m. I left a very detailed voicemail. "Greg, it's Alex. I'm in serious trouble. My fiancée just..." I laid it all out. "I'm anticipating significant legal blowback from her father, Arthur. I need you. Call me as soon as you get this." I did not go pick her up. I sat in the dark. My phone buzzed with texts from Bianca. "Where are you?" "Alex, it's cold. Get here now." "My dad just called me screaming. What did you do?" "Alex, you bastard, what did you do?" Then, silence. Daddy must have picked her up. My phone rang at 4:02 a.m., an unknown number. I let it ring. It rang again, immediately. I answered. "Alex?" The voice was smooth, cold, and expensive. "This is Alex," I said. "This is Julian Croft. I represent the Arthur's last name family. We need to discuss your cooperation." Not her. Not her father. Her father's lawyer. At 4 a.m., this is the part where I knew my life was about to become a living hell, or I was about to save it. Update 1. It's been 2 weeks. I'm not sure I've slept more than 3 hours straight. The adrenaline is gone, replaced by this grim, shaky determination. So the call with Julian Croft, the family lawyer. "Alex," he said, his voice slick with fake sympathy. "Mr. Arthur is handling the situation with Bianca. She's just a young, panicked woman. There's been a terrible misunderstanding." "Was it a misunderstanding that she asked me to take a felony for her?" I asked. "She was drunk, Alex. Hysterical. People say silly things. Now this dashcam footage you've distributed, that's a complication. It's a private family matter. It's an insurance matter, Julian. And a legal one. I sent it to my insurance company to prove I wasn't driving." That was hasty. he said, the silkiness dropping a few degrees. You're the primary on that policy, Alex. You're liable. This could get very, very expensive for you. It would be best for everyone if that footage was just retracted. If you told the insurance company you misidentified the driver. Arthur is very generous to people who are loyal. There it was. The bribe. The threat. Loyalty? She asked me to go to prison. I'm loyal to not being in prison. My lawyer will be in touch. I hung up. The fallout was immediate. My insurance company, upon receiving the video, was efficient. They sent an agent out, got my formal statement, and immediately began the process of dropping my policy. I have 30 days. They also informed me the owner of the Escalade she hit had already filed a massive claim. They would be handling it, but they were very interested in the fact that Arthur owned the vehicle, not me. But the real drama? Bianca. She showed up 2 days after the crash. Arthur's driver dropped her off. She still had a key. I was in my workshop trying to tune a violin, but my hands were shaking too much. I heard the front door slam. Alex. I walked up the stairs. She was standing in the living room, her face pale and puffy with rage. You betrayed me, she screamed. You asked me to go to jail, Bianca. It wouldn't have been jail, she shrieked, and this is the part I'll never forget. Daddy would have fixed it. He would have gotten me the best lawyer. You just had to be the supportive fiancé for once. You just had to show up and be a man. I just stared at her. Be a man? By committing a crime for you? You ruined everything, she was sobbing now, but they were angry tears. You sent that video to my father. You called the insurance. The police came to the house. My dad had to handle them. It was so embarrassing. They impounded the car. The Benz is gone, and that guy, the Escalade guy, he's suing. He's suing me, Bianca, as the policyholder. Well, you should have just done what I asked, she yelled. The complete, total, galactic level lack of self-awareness. It was breathtaking. Your things are in boxes, I said, pointing to the hallway where I'd stacked them. You need to leave. Her face went from red to white. What? Leave? Alex, don't be dramatic. We're getting married in 4 months. You're punishing me because you're mad. Okay, I'm sorry. I said it. Are you happy? I'm not. I'm done. Get your things. No, she crossed her arms. I live here. You can't just kick me out. I'm not going anywhere. Your name isn't on the lease. You're a guest, and you're no longer welcome. Her eyes narrowed, and then she smiled, a slow, cold smile. Fine, she said. I'll go, but I'm taking my engagement gift. She turned and walked not toward her boxes, but toward the stairs to my workshop. My blood turned to ice. Bianca? Stop. What? She said, feigning innocence. You gave it to me when you proposed. It's mine. She wasn't talking about the ring. She was talking about the cello. The lie. When I proposed, I was working on the 1920s Italian cello. It was my passion project. She'd always been jealous of the time I spent on it. One day, I joked, when this is done, it'll sing for us at our wedding. She was now twisting that. You promised it to me, Alex. It's our future. I'm taking it. You can have it back when you stop being a psycho and fix what you broke. She was going to hold my life's work hostage. I stepped in front of the stairs. That cello is worth more than the Benz, Bianca. It is not yours. It has never been yours. I have the certificate of authenticity and the bill of sale in my name, dated 3 years before I even met you. You walk down those stairs, you try to take it, and I will call the police right now and have you arrested for grand theft. You wouldn't, she sneered. You asked me to take a DUI for you. You tried to ruin my life. You have no idea what I would do to protect my work. We stared at each other. Her, calculating. Me, completely, utterly empty of any feeling for her. She must have seen it. The calculation failed. You're a monster? She whispered. Get your boxes. She grabbed her things, all 14 boxes and suitcases, dragging them out the front door while screaming into her phone for her driver. The last thing she said to me was, "You'll regret this. My father will ruin you. He will end you. You have no idea what you've done." She left. I locked the deadbolt, and then I had to sit on the floor because my legs gave out. The ruin started this morning. I got a call from Greg, my lawyer. "Okay, Alex," he said, "the fight is on. Arthur's team is here. First, the good news. The insurance company is subrogating the claim. They're going after Arthur personally as the owner of the vehicle, since their driver, Bianca, was engaged in criminal activity. You're still on the hook for the deductible, but the big claim is their problem. That's great, I said, relieved. Now the bad news. Arthur's lawyer Croft is countersuing you. For what? Emotional distress, defamation, and, get this, breach of fiduciary duty as a domestic partner. What does that even mean? It means they're going to argue that you, as her fiancé, had a duty to protect her, and by sending that dashcam footage to her father and the insurance, you defamed her and caused irreparable harm to her reputation. Her reputation? She did a hit and run. They're not arguing the facts, Alex. They're arguing your loyalty. They're going to try and bury you in legal fees. They're going to make this so expensive you'll have to declare bankruptcy. This is a war of attrition. Arthur is trying to break you. So, that's where I am. Getting sued by my ex-fiancé's billionaire father for not covering up her felony. I'm scared. This is out of my league. But what else could I have done? Final update. It's been 4 months. 4 months of hell. 4 months of legal bills that made me physically ill. 4 months of sleeping in my workshop because I was too anxious to be upstairs. But it's over. The lawsuit was a nightmare. Arthur's legal team, led by Julian Croft, was exactly as advertised. They buried me in paperwork. They filed motion after motion. They deposed me for 9 hours, trying to paint me as a controlling, abusive partner. Mr. Alex last name, Croft said. Isn't it true you forced Bianca to be on your insurance? No, Arthur requested it to save money. Isn't it true you installed that dash cam not for safety but to monitor her? No, it was a condition of her being on my policy. So you did force her. You created a hostile environment. My client was terrified of you. She was scared to come home that night, wasn't she? Isn't that why she drank? Because she was so afraid of your reaction? It was insane. They were trying to argue that I was responsible for her DUI. My lawyer Greg was a bulldog. He countered everything. But it was costing me a fortune. Arthur's plan was working. He was bleeding me dry. Meanwhile, the other parts of the plan were in motion. The Escalade owner, his civil suit against me, as the policyholder, was moving forward. The cops. This is where it got interesting. The police, who had let Bianca go that night after her dad handled them, were suddenly under pressure. The Escalade owner's lawyer was good, and he was raising hell about the special treatment the driver received. The local DA, who was not in Arthur's pocket and was facing an election, saw an easy, high-profile win. They formally charged Bianca. DUI, hit and run, reckless endangerment. The video was undeniable. This is when the entitlement, the sheer audacity, hit its peak. I got a call. Julian Croft. Alex, he said, no more slickness, just cold anger. This has gone too far. The DA is pressing charges. This is your fault. You could have made this all go away. I didn't drive drunk, Julian. Listen to me, and listen closely. Arthur is prepared to make a final, generous offer. This all goes away. You go to the DA and the insurance company. You tell them you reviewed the dash cam footage again. You tell them you were mistaken. It was dark, you were tired, you're not sure who was driving. You say the footage is corrupted or unreliable. I couldn't believe it. You want me to commit perjury and obstruction of justice. I want you to be practical, he hissed. In exchange, Arthur will pay the Escalade owner in full. He will pay your legal bills, and he will deposit $100,000 into an account of your choosing for your trouble, your workshop, your cello. It all stays safe. I looked around my workshop. At the cello, safe in its cradle, he was threatening my work, my life. So commit multiple felonies, ruin my own credibility, and let her walk free for $100,000. It's the best deal you'll ever get, Alex. You have 24 hours, or we proceed with the lawsuit, and I will strip you of everything you own, starting with that oversized violin in your basement. I'll think about it, I said. You do that, he said. Click. I sat there, my heart hammering. He called me on my cell. My personal cell. I took a deep breath. I am a meticulous man. I called Greg. Greg, I said, you're not going to believe this, but I think Mr. Croft just committed a crime. And my phone? It's set to record all my calls. Has been for 2 weeks. The next 48 hours were a blur. Greg got the call recording. He immediately filed it with the judge in the civil case, along with a motion for sanctions and to have Croft's entire firm dismissed for gross misconduct. He also sent a copy to the district attorney's office. The DA, who was already building a case against Bianca, now had a witness tampering and bribery charge to level at her lawyer. The entire Ruin Alex campaign didn't just stop, it imploded. The resolution, the practical, satisfying part. Julian Croft is facing a state bar investigation that will likely see him disbarred. Arthur fired him immediately to distance himself. The bribery charge is pending. The lawsuit against me, with their primary lawyer disgraced and the recording filed in court, Arthur's new legal team, a much more humble local firm, immediately dropped the countersuit. The emotional distress claim vanished. The Escalade owner's suit. My insurance company, who was still technically on the hook for the claim, settled with the Escalade owner. They then turned around and, using the undeniable video and the witness tampering evidence, filed a massive subrogation suit against Arthur, as the car's owner, and Bianca, as the driver, to reclaim every cent. They will win. Bianca's criminal case. This was the finale. With the video, her daddy's girl, defense was useless. The DA, furious about the bribery attempt, refused any sweetheart plea deal. Bianca had to plead guilty to the DUI and the hit and run. The sentence. This is real life, so she didn't get 10 years in prison. But she got 18 months of probation, a $10,000 fine, 200 hours of actual community service, highway cleanup, a 1-year mandatory license suspension, and she has to attend a victim impact panel. For a person of her status, this is social and professional annihilation. Her reputation is cooked. The cello. Their attempt to claim the cello as an engagement gift was laughed out of court. Greg provided the bill of sale and authentication, and the judge dismissed their motion with prejudice. My life isn't perfect. I'm still paying Greg. He gave me a discount after the recording, but he's not cheap. I had to find a new, insanely expensive insurance policy. I'm selling the engagement ring I bought to cover the last of the legal fees. I still have moments of vulnerability. I'm sad sometimes. I was building a life with this person, and she was willing to burn me alive to stay warm. That's a hard pill to swallow. I feel stupid for not seeing it. But then I walk downstairs into my workshop. The cello is safe. I pick up my tools. The work is quiet. It's meticulous. It requires a steady hand. And my hand is finally steady again. I heard Bianca's mom has to drive her to her highway cleanup sessions. That thought isn't revenge. It's just consequences. It's just gravity. She texted, "You're not ambitious enough. I need a go-getter." I wrote back, "Understood." Then I applied the ambition she wanted to finding her replacement. Her shock when she met my new girlfriend who actually appreciated my drive. Original post: I, 32 male, work as a project manager at a mid-sized engineering firm. Good job, decent salary around 85K, been there 6 years. My girlfriend Jessica, 29, and I had been together for 4 years, living together for 2. The text came last Monday at 2 p.m. while I was in a meeting. Had to check it because she never texts during work hours. "We need to talk. You're not ambitious enough for me. I need a go-getter, someone who matches my energy. You're too comfortable being mediocre." I stared at my phone for a solid minute. My coworker nudged me to pay attention to the presentation. That evening, she was already packing when I got home. "Jess, what's going on?" She didn't even look up. "Read my text. I've been thinking about this for months." "Months? We just went to your sister's wedding together. You introduced me to your grandparents." "Yeah, well, that was before I realized you're never going to be more than this." She gestured vaguely at our apartment. "Assistant manager at some random company. Project manager. Whatever, same difference. You've been in the same position for 3 years. I got promoted twice in 6 years. That's actually pretty good. Troy makes 6 figures. He just got promoted to senior director at his firm. He's 30. Troy. Her coworker who she'd been mentioning a lot lately. "So this is about Troy? This is about you lacking ambition. Troy's just an example of what a real man accomplishes." The entitlement in her voice was staggering. This woman who worked part-time as a yoga instructor, whose car insurance I paid, whose student loans I'd been helping with, was calling me unambitious. "Jess, you work 15 hours a week. I'm building my brand. My Instagram has 3,000 followers. That's not a career. That's a hobby. See? This is why we're done. You don't support my vision." Troy gets it. He says I could be huge in the wellness space. She zipped up her suitcase. "Where are you going?" "My sister's place. Don't contact me. I need to focus on elevating my life." And she left. 4 years. Just walked out because I wasn't ambitious enough. I sat in our living room, my living room now, and typed back one word, understood. Then I did something I hadn't done in 4 years. I updated my LinkedIn to single. Update 1, 2 weeks later. The audacity started almost immediately. 3 days after she left, I get a Venmo request. $400 for my share of utilities, the apartment she voluntarily left, the utilities in my name, declined. Then came the text from an unknown number. Her sister Madison. Jess says you're being petty about the utilities. Just pay it so she can move on. She moved out. That's the definition of moving on. You know she's struggling financially right now. Maybe she should date Troy then. He makes 6 figures, remember? Radio silence after that. But here's where I decided to take Jessica's advice about ambition. If she wanted a go-getter, I'd show her what that actually meant. First, I started hitting the gym at 5 a.m. instead of after work. Not for her. For me. But I made sure to post the occasional workout pic on Instagram. Nothing thirsty, just proof of dedication. Second, I enrolled in an executive MBA program. Night classes, online modules. Expensive? Yes, but I'd been thinking about it for years. Jessica leaving freed up about $600 per month I'd been spending on her expenses. Third, and this is the good part, I started networking. Hard. Every industry event, every after-work mixer, every professional development workshop. That's where I met Natalie. Natalie, 31F, was presenting at a fintech conference I attended. VP of Strategic Development at a startup, MIT grad, and genuinely interesting to talk to. We grabbed coffee after her presentation to discuss her thoughts on project management in emerging markets. Your questions during the Q&A were insightful, she said. Thanks. I'm actually working on something similar at my company. Really? Tell me more. We talked for 2 hours. Not once did she call me unambitious. In fact, when I mentioned the MBA program, she offered to connect me with her mentor who taught at the business school. Meanwhile, Jessica was documenting her elevation journey on social media. Lots of motivational quotes over sunset photos. Surround yourself with people who match your energy, and never settle for mediocrity. The funny part? Troy never appeared in any photos. Weird for someone who got her vision. A friend who still followed her told me she was still at Madison's, teaching yoga at a budget gym, and had started a GoFundMe for a wellness retreat certification in Bali. Goal: $5,000. Raised, $127. But I wasn't focused on that. I was too busy actually being ambitious. Natalie and I met for coffee again. Then dinner. Then a weekend conference where we both presented. She was brilliant, driven, and actually accomplished. Plus, she thought my job was impressive. Project management is undervalued, she said over drinks. You're literally the person making sure million-dollar initiatives succeed. My ex thought it was mediocre. Your ex sounds like she didn't understand what ambition actually looks like. Update 2, 6 weeks later. The entitlement escalated to Olympic levels. Jessica found out about Natalie through LinkedIn. Natalie and I weren't even officially dating yet, but we'd connected on there, and apparently Jessica was stalking my profile. The text came at 11 p.m. on a Thursday. Who's this Natalie woman? Bit quick to move on, don't you think? I didn't respond. Hello? I'm talking to you. Still nothing. Whatever. She looks old anyway. Then came the phone call. I let it go to voicemail. Really, Brian? Really? You're ignoring me now? After 4 years? And now you're dating some corporate robot? This is so typical. You probably met her at one of those boring networking things you never wanted to go to when we were together. God, you're so predictable. The irony of her calling networking events boring when she left me for not being ambitious enough? Chef's kiss. Sorry, I mean, deeply satisfying. But the real entitlement showed up the next week. I came home from class to find Jessica in my apartment, standing in the kitchen, going through the mail. What the hell are you doing here? I still have a key. I came to get some things I forgot. It's been 6 weeks, and you could have called. You weren't answering my texts. Because we're broken up. You ended it, remember? The whole lacking ambition thing? She looked around the apartment, saw my MBA textbooks on the table, my new workout gear, the certificate from a professional development course on the wall. You're doing all this now? Why didn't you do this when we were together? I was. You just never noticed because you were too busy building your brand. That's not, Troy said. How is Troy, by the way? Her face flushed. Troy has a girlfriend. What? He has a girlfriend. Had one the whole time. She was visiting family in Korea. I actually laughed. So the ambitious go-getter you left me for was taken? He led me on. He said I was special, that I had potential. To be his side piece? Screw you, Brian. At least I tried to improve my situation. By leaving someone who paid half your bills to chase a guy who was never available? That's when she saw it. A photo on my phone screen, Natalie and me at the conference, both in professional attire, both holding award plaques. I'd won recognition for a process improvement initiative that saved my company $200. Is that her? Yes, she's actually pretty. She's brilliant. Jessica's jaw clenched. Whatever. I need $2,000. For what? The Bali retreat. It'll transform my career. Your career of teaching 4 yoga classes a week? It's about building something bigger. You wouldn't understand. Actually, I understand perfectly. You want me to fund your vacation because Troy won't and your GoFundMe failed. It's not a vacation. It's professional development. Then professionally develop yourself with your own money. I don't have. This is financial abuse. This is financial independence. Yours specifically. Isn't that what ambitious people have? She grabbed her purse. I'll tell everyone how you treated me, how you changed the moment I left. I did change, for the better. And everyone already knows you left me for a taken man after calling me unambitious while you lived off my salary. Madison said you were always a jerk. Madison asked me for money for you 3 days after you left. The audacity runs in the family. She stormed toward the door, then turned. That woman will see through you eventually. Natalie? She already sees me clearly. That's why she's interested. The door slam was magnificent. I changed the locks the next day. Update 3. 3 months later, Jessica went nuclear, but in the most pathetic way possible. First, she tried to remix history on social media, posted this long thing about surviving a toxic relationship and finding herself after years of being held back. Some people bought it, but most who knew us both just stayed quiet. Then she tried to crash a professional networking event she knew I'd be at. Showed up in a cocktail dress to a business casual mixer, walked straight up to Natalie and me. You must be the new girlfriend, she said to Natalie, fake smile plastered on. Natalie, God bless her, just extended her hand. Natalie Chen, VP of Strategic Development, and you are? The power move of introducing herself with her title. Beautiful. I'm Jessica, Brian's ex, the one he lived with for 4 years. Oh, the yoga instructor. Brian mentioned you were focusing on your Instagram career. How's that going? Jessica's eye twitched. It's going great. I'm actually launching a wellness coaching program. That's nice. What's your certification in? Life experience is my certification. Interesting business model. I stood there trying not to smile as Natalie politely demolished her. Brian tells me you encouraged him to be more ambitious, Natalie continued. I should thank you. His drive is one of the things I find most attractive about him. His drive? The MBA program, the promotion track he's on, his innovative project solutions. Very impressive. You got promoted? I hadn't, but I was being considered for senior project manager. Natalie was manifesting it into existence through sheer confidence. Brian, we should go. The keynote's starting. Natalie smiled at Jessica. Nice meeting you. Good luck with the Instagram. As we walked away, Jessica called out, he's only doing all this to spite me. Natalie whispered to me, is that true? Started that way. Now I'm doing it because I actually like who I'm becoming. Good answer. But Jessica wasn't done. She started texting my mom. Mrs. Patterson, I'm concerned about Brian. He's changed. He's not the man I fell in love with. Mom responded, you're right, he's better. Please stop contacting me. Then Jessica tried the nuclear option. She called my work, told HR I was creating a hostile work environment by dating someone in the industry. HR called me in, very confused. Brian, we got a complaint that you're dating someone? Yes, her name's Natalie. Does she work here? No, different company entirely. Then, what's the issue? My ex-girlfriend seems to think my personal life is her business. Your ex called to complain that you're dating someone new? Correct. HR actually laughed. Okay, well, there's no policy against dating people who don't work here. Case closed, I guess? But they documented the harassment, which came in handy later. The peak entitlement came when Jessica showed up at my apartment again. This time she'd somehow convinced Madison to come with her, and they'd brought Troy. I opened the door to all three of them. "Can we talk?" Jessica said. "No. Please?" "Troy wants to apologize." Troy, this mythical six-figure senior director, looked like a regular dude in khakis who'd rather be anywhere else. "I don't need his apology. He led me on," Jessica said. "Tell him, Troy." Troy shifted uncomfortably. I may have given mixed signals." "Mixed signals?" Madison jumped in. "You promised her you'd leave your girlfriend." "I absolutely did not." "You said I was special," Jessica screeched. This was happening in my hallway. My neighbors were definitely listening. "Okay, everyone needs to leave, now. Not until you hear me out." Jessica pushed past me into the apartment. The others followed. And there was Natalie, sitting on my couch, working on her laptop, looking absolutely unbothered. "Oh, good witnesses," she said, pulling out her phone. "Please continue your home invasion while I record." Madison stepped forward. "Who do you think you?" "I think I'm the woman calling the police if you don't leave in the next 30 seconds. Troy was already backing toward the door. "Jess, we should go." "No, he owes me." "For what?" I asked. "For moving on, for becoming everything I wanted you to be, but only after I left. So you're mad that I took your advice? You were supposed to fight for me, beg me to come back." Not this." Natalie stood up. "Jessica, right? Let me explain something. Brian didn't become ambitious for you or because of you. He already was. You were just too self-absorbed to notice. Now please leave before I call both the police and my attorney." "Your attorney? Did Brian not mention?" "My father's a partner at Richardson Klein & Associates. Harassment and trespassing charges are kind of their specialty." That was a lie. Her father was a dentist, but Jessica didn't know that. They left. Troy practically ran to his car. Final update: it's been 6 months since Jessica sent that text about ambition. Update on her: she never made it to Bali. The GoFundMe topped out at $341. She's still teaching at the budget gym, still living with Madison, and according to mutual friends, still posting motivational quotes about knowing your worth and leveling up. Troy? Turns out he wasn't a senior director. He was a junior account manager who drove a leased Mercedes he couldn't afford. His actual girlfriend dumped him when Jessica kept showing up at his office. He got transferred to a different branch. Madison still occasionally texts me asking if I want to do the right thing and help Jessica financially. I never respond. As for me, I did get that promotion. Senior project manager, 20% raise, plus bonuses. The MBA program is going well, maintaining a 3.8 GPA while working full-time. Turns out I'm pretty ambitious when I'm doing it for myself instead of trying to prove something to someone who contributes nothing. Natalie and I are officially together. She's incredible, actually accomplished, genuinely supportive, and she laughs when I read her Jessica's old texts about me being mediocre. "Mediocre men don't single-handedly save their companies $200K, she said last week. Also, mediocre men don't make me feel the way you do. We're planning a trip to Tokyo next month. I'm paying for it with my bonus. The bonus from the promotion Jessica said I'd never get because I lacked vision." The funniest part? Jessica recently started dating another guy from her gym. Posted about how he's different from her ex and understands her journey. He's a personal trainer who lives with 3 roommates and drives a 2003 Honda Civic. So much for needing a go-getter. The lesson here? When someone tells you you're not enough while they're contributing nothing, believe them. They're telling you they're not enough. And when they leave to chase their delusions of grandeur, let them go. Use that energy to actually improve yourself. Jessica thought ambition meant dating up while doing nothing yourself. She thought success meant Instagram followers and retreat certifications funded by others. She confused actual achievement with the appearance of it. Real ambition is quiet. It's 5 a.m. workouts nobody sees. It's night classes after long work days. It's building something sustainable, not chasing taken men who lie about their job titles. She wanted me to be more ambitious? Careful what you wish for. I became so ambitious I outgrew not just her memory, but any version of myself that would have settled for someone so entitled. Thanks for following this journey. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a date with an actual accomplished woman who thinks my career is impressive. Crazy how that works when you're with someone who's not a delusional leech. Peace out.